It wasn't planned, no script, no PR strategy, no perfectly staged moment with flattering lighting. Just a quiet sound in a crowded room. A laugh. Not the kind that fills a space with joy, and not the kind that's forced and polite. This was a different breed entirely. The kind of laugh that carries a weight you can't quite measure. One that slips through the cracks of conversation and somehow lands right where it hurts most. And for Meghan Markle, it landed hard. The laugh came from Jaime Kern Lima, a woman who has absolutely no reason to bow to anyone, royal title or not. It happened on Jaime's own podcast, Meghan's first ever appearance on a show she didn't control from top to bottom. No production crew handpicked by her, no pre-approved questions, no layers of edits to sculpt every answer. Just two women, two microphones, and a conversation that took a turn Meghan probably didn't see coming. Somewhere in the middle of that exchange, Meghan tried to throw what she must have thought was a subtle jab, calling Jaime a user and a hypocrite. Now, most people in Hollywood would either smile awkwardly, rush to smooth things over, or jump in to defend themselves. But Jaime, she didn't even blink. Instead, she just smirked. And then, she laughed. Not a cruel laugh, not a mocking laugh, just knowing, effortless. The kind of laugh that says, I've seen this game before, and I'm not here to play it. And here's the thing, that laugh did more damage to Meghan's carefully curated image than 100 tabloids ever could. Because it wasn't just a reaction, it was a verdict. Who is Jaime Kern Lima? Before we go any further, you need to understand why this moment mattered so much. Jaime isn't some up-and-coming influencer looking for attention. She isn't a wannabe royal chasing headlines. She's a self-made billionaire who built IT cosmetics from the ground up. Her story isn't about connections or inherited wealth, it's about grit. She started small, worked relentlessly, and eventually made history by selling her company to Elle for over $1 billion. One of her most famous moments, going live on national TV, wiping off her full face of makeup, and showing the world her real skin, redness, rosacea, texture, and all. No filters, no editing, just raw, unvarnished truth. It's that authenticity that built her empire, and it's why she has zero interest in clout from Meghan Markle or anyone else. Meghan Markle's brand problem now? Contrast that with Meghan's public image over the past few years. At first, she was a disruptor, a woman breaking away from royal tradition, speaking up about injustice, and refusing to play by outdated rules. The world listened, the press buzzed, but somewhere along the way, the message started looping. Criticism, misogyny, fallouts, somebody else's fault. Projects always shadowed by a bigger story about betrayal or injustice. Her brand became a cocktail of curated sadness and passive-aggressive empowerment. Beautiful words wrapped in a soft filter, always centering her as the wounded but righteous heroine. And at first it worked. But as the years rolled on, people began to notice the repetition. The same themes, the same delivery, empowerment, injustice, victimhood, repeat. The result? A shrinking circle. First the royal family, then Spotify, then Netflix, and now, even the industry that once welcomed her with open arms has started keeping her at arm's length. Why Jaime's laugh was a problem, you see. Jaime Kern Lima represents everything Meghan tries to sell, but without the performance. Jaime doesn't have to post Instagram quotes about resilience. She is resilience. She's been rejected thousands of times, built something no one believed in, and came out on top, all without public feuds, scandals, or endless narratives about who wronged her. So when Meghan called her a hypocrite, it wasn't just an insult. It was off, like trying to throw shade at the sun. Jaime's laugh was the kind of reaction you get from someone who's too busy actually living empowerment to waste energy proving it, and that's what made it sting. Not just for Meghan, but for anyone watching who's been starting to feel the same way. The podcast tension on that podcast, Meghan was supposed to be the star, the empowering guest, the draw for clicks and headlines. Instead, she became the cautionary tale. While Jaime spoke with calm clarity, Meghan came across as restless, circling the same points over and over. Old grievances repackaged as new wisdom. Emotional turbulence framed as growth, but never quite moving past the hurt. Even her stories about female empowerment seemed to orbit one central planet, Meghan herself. Every example looped back to her pain, her betrayal, her transformation. It wasn't about collective strength. It was about personal validation. And here's the thing, real empowerment doesn't need to be center stage. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be sold. It just needs to be real. Jaime gets that. Meghan, maybe not so much. Hollywood is quietly moving on behind the scenes. Hollywood has started shifting. Executives are tired of projects that get delayed, tired of creative chaos, tired of meetings that feel tense before they even start. Not because they hate Meghan, but because she's become unpredictable. And in Hollywood, unpredictable isn't exciting, it's risky. Jaime, by contrast, is the exact opposite. Stable, consistent, trusted. She doesn't need to weaponize her past or turn her life into a streaming special. Her credibility comes from what she's built, not what she's survived. And that makes her dangerous, in the quietest way possible, to someone like Meghan. The laugh is a mirror, that's why the laugh mattered. It wasn't meant to humiliate Meghan. It was a boundary, a signal that not every woman will play along with the victimhood script. And for Meghan, that laugh was a mirror, reflecting the difference between the empowerment she markets and the empowerment Jaime lives. Industry insiders noticed. Producers who once jumped at the chance to work with Meghan are now passing without hesitation. The brand feels too tightly controlled. Every conversation feels like a landmine. Every relationship feels transactional. It's exhausting, and when people get tired, the calls stop coming. The takeaway: Hollywood's quiet verdict behind the scenes, executives have been making quiet decisions. The Sussex brand still has name recognition. But name recognition isn't enough when meetings feel tense before they even start, when creative projects stall over control issues, and when every deal comes with a side of drama. It's not personal, it's business. And in business, unpredictability is expensive. Jaime is the opposite. No entourage, no PR crises, no emotional roller coasters. Mid-project, she delivers. And she delivers without a spectacle. That's why her laugh carried so much weight. It wasn't just aimed at Meghan in that moment. It was a reminder to everyone listening that authenticity doesn't need a script. The laugh as a mirror. And that's where the deeper sting comes in. Jaime's laugh didn't humiliate Meghan. It showed the difference between marketing empowerment and living it. Between controlling the story and simply letting your work speak for itself. It was the sound of someone saying, "I've been through the fire, too. I just chose not to turn it into a production." That's a hard truth to hear, especially when your brand depends on keeping the narrative in your hands. Meghan Markle once had the power to shift culture. She was the fresh voice, the disruptor, the one to watch. But attention is the currency she's always banked on, and when it dries up, the brand collapses. Jaime's laugh didn't just underline that truth, it put a full stop at the end of the sentence. It said, without words, real empowerment isn't something you sell, it's something you live. And right now, Meghan's audience isn't buying.